officially, because I try to do things as least contrived as possible. I like everything to be organic and just natural. So I want to basically take it back to, like your IG post just said, 20 plus years ago, meeting at FAMU.
Yeah.
And so explain to me, like, what was your experience in Tallahassee like? And I'm gonna tell you mine.
So, FAMU, first of all, it was the most self-revealing experience ever. I never knew. You meet people from different walks of life. You meet people who carry themselves a certain way, who it was the DC crew who did things a certain way. It was the West Coast crew who did things a certain way. It was the Atlanta guys who always was moving a certain way. It was Detroit. They was always wearing suits and fly and all that. So Chicago, you know, and all those guys and Roe, and you know, it was a lot of experience that I don't think that I would have had not going to college. It was an incredible melting pot. I learned about who I was in the middle of all of that, meaning you don't know who you are until you're in competition. You don't know how great you are, you know how talented you are. And I went to college so that I wouldn't sell drugs. I knew that I was going to make it in music. I knew it. But I know that in the meantime, I would have been in the streets. Right. And if I would have been a drug dealer, I would have been the biggest drug dealer. So I said, I'm going to school. And crazy thing, I got robbed for 2.5 ounces of cocaine at gunpoint before I went to school. And that was my, yeah, bro, go to school.
Which means you like 17, 18 at the time when that shit happened.
17, and I remember thinking to myself, you know what, this ain't for me. So I knew that if I was gonna be in that world, it was gonna, because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And college was my safety. That was my savior. That was my first glimpse of competition. Even when you and I met and we was battling guys on the set, and we was performing at Lee Hall, and we was sitting outside from the Patty Foot in the cafeteria. I stayed at Patty Foot, so that little walkway where guys would talk to girls using Gibbs, and guys would talk to girls walking through, and we would just rap back and forth. That was my introduction to, yo, you know what? You're dope. You're gonna be okay. Because in the middle, I was one of the most popular rappers on the entire campus. And even, you know, Smitty was there. He was writing raps for Puff. Right. You know what I mean? Right. In college. Right. And I remember being able to make a name for myself at school. And that's when I said to myself, I just came here. I just got here. And I grabbed the mic and I was able to captivate all of these people. I know I'm gonna make it because it was just so much talent.
Yeah. Yo, I swear, Tallahassee, like FAMU is specifically bred a lot of talent. You know what I mean? But because you were born in New Orleans, right?
Born in New Orleans.
And then like kind of grew up between like Milwaukee and Harlem?
Yes.
How'd you end up at FAM?
I just looked in a book and I saw Florida A&M University and I said, I want to go there. That's Miami. That's the beach. Boom. Right. And I got there and I was like, it's no beach, it's no water, it's no ocean. It's water, but it's no ocean. And like I said, I really went to school to not be in the streets, right. You know, and, you know, I grew up in a great home. I wasn't like a bad kid, but I knew what I wanted out of life. I wanted nice things. I wanted to, and the people that I was surrounded by at the time, you know, me and my friends, we just played basketball, but I started hanging around this one guy who was like influential in my life, and he just showed me money. So I just said, I knew if I wouldn't have went to school, I would have been with him and I would have been a drug dealer. But I knew I would have been a big drug dealer. I know how I move, and I didn't want that for myself. And then when I went home and I got robbed, I was like, man, this ain't even, why am I going through this? What if this guy would have killed me? Right. For what? That's not even my life. That's not what I want out of life. So FAM was that for me. That was my refuge from that.
You got robbed in New York or in Milwaukee? Damn. Mm-hmm. Damn, Midwest. Crazy.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. What was like the environment in Milwaukee like?
Toughest place I've ever been to in my life. The toughest city, the most ruthless, cutthroat city. When you see things about Chicago, about Detroit, about Arkansas, about St. Louis, you gotta include Milwaukee in that. Yeah, oh my God. Gang culture is very heavy. It was extremely heavy when I was growing up. It's like principal murders. nobody has money, everybody's poor. So every murder is off principle, off from you disrespected me. Right. So imagine these fragile personalities, these insecurities. Everybody's gonna feel slighted every day. Imagine the tension of an insecure. The entire city is feeling inadequate. Right. It's feeling like unworthy. Right. So that level of insecurity is gonna be like, so imagine when I became successful, how insecure that made a lot of people feel. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? Like, you create issues. Right. So you just feel like you next to somebody, and he might got a new car this week and you don't got one. Right. So I feel insecure. I don't feel adequate. I don't feel like I mean as much. So now I'm gonna create an issue with you. It's principle now. Now you disrespected me because disrespect to an insecure person, disrespect is anything. You know what I mean? Like if you're insecure and somebody look at you and say, "Oh yeah, you try me," you know, it's anything. So a lot of people, when I was growing up, my dad's here. My dad, you know, is from New York, but my dad's actually in Miami right now. He's been hanging out with me. But he always told me, like, every time you would come back from Milwaukee, you was always a little tense. You know, he always told me that as a kid. I'll be at the park and I'll be want to fight, and I'll be, you know, because that's what it breeds. Aggression. Everything is a fight. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have more Milwaukee ingrained in you, or Harlem, or are they evenly like proportioned in you?
I think I got Miami in me. I got Atlanta in me. I got Tallahassee. I think that every part of life we experience, we take certain things. We take certain things and we, you know, it becomes a part of our DNA. So I don't think it's more of any place. What I do know is that there's an energy that I have of like, bro, don't play with me. And that's Milwaukee for sure. It's an energy. But there's a confidence in me that lacks that insecurity, and that's New York for sure. Like that's not, I don't have most people feel like, you know, I do have my own insecurities when it comes to different things, like, you know, relationships or anything that, you know, mental health issues that I have with myself. But as far as insecurities between men, between another person. No, it's not one of those things. My own insecurities are self things that I reflect on, that I kind of like dwell on, that I have to learn to let go of, and that's a whole nother show. But as far as that level of feeling slighted by every human being that walks in a room, that is something that I would like to think that I don't totally possess.
You know, it's interesting, you know, I wasn't even expecting to get on this topic, but the fact that you brought up mental health, because I'm an advocate for this this organization, I guess you could say, or this foundation called Silence the Shame, which is basically like, it was started by my homegirl Shanti Das out of Atlanta. No, you might know Shanti, yeah. You know, basically trying to end the stigma, especially within our culture, of the whole mental health awareness thing, and trying to make it like, it's okay to say, I need to speak to somebody, I have mental health issues, I need, you know, help. You know, because, you know, the way we grew up, it's like, be a man, man up, take everything on the chin, don't show any weakness, what the fuck you crying for, like all of that type of shit, right? And because I went through a period of time where I was suicidal, because I didn't know how to cope with certain things I was going through. And thankfully that was, you know, a long time ago. But through connecting with Shanti and her story and everything she's doing, I got the confidence to go talk to a room of people here in Pembroke Pines and share a little bit of my story. And it just opened me up to the realization that, you know, like us, especially as black men in America in this time when they killing us like crazy, that we go through so much psychologically and mentally that you goddamn right, like we need help, you know, and a lot of us are trying to like mask that and hide that shit. So it's just, I wouldn't think that someone at your level would even be a factor. You know?
But that is the thing. There is no level. You know what I mean? When it comes to matters of the heart, there is no level. There is no. At the end of the day, I have an issue of lending myself to people and feeling I'm owed a certain level of respect because of what I've done for people, and that's something that I have to deal with personally and understand. Nobody owes me anything because of what I've done for them, especially if my act was genuine. So I allowed those things to torment me because I felt like we shouldn't disrespect me because of this. I shouldn't be disrespected because I'm a person. So over time, you start feeling like I deserve a certain level of respect because I did this for you. and I did this, and I did this, and I sacrificed this, and I wasn't. And I think I'm very spiritual. I believe in God, and I believe in the devil. And I believe that the devil will attack things in you that he knows you haven't mastered. So if I know that I deal with ungrateful people and I feel like that's one of my buttons, he just keeps sending me ungrateful people. Until I can get to the point where whatever I do for you is just because of who I am, not because I want you to even be grateful for it. Because if I'm waiting for that, I used to feel like I don't care about money. All I care about is the influence I have over people and how I can do for other people. And I had to realize that don't mean nothing. Because what if nobody appreciates? What if no person appreciates you? Then what do you do? So I had to learn that. Well, I'm still learning. I'm a work in progress. So I'm not really totally there. But what I do recognize is that I got to be happy with who I am as a man, the father that I am, the husband I'm trying to be, the person I'm trying to grow into. I got to be happy and excited about that man. And if I'm not, your validation from somebody else, it won't mean nothing anyway.
I remember, those rap battles at FAM, and it was like one day Rico was here, and then the next day, like, you were gone. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, nah, that nigga moved to Atlanta. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, he went and got down with Usher, something like that. And I was like, what? Like,
I got kicked out of school.
Oh shit.
A lot of people don't know. So what happened was, my financial aid was done. My paperwork was there. I thought I was good. And then I went to school and my name wasn't on the roll. Remember, they would take rolls and kick you out of class. Yeah. Oh. So they kicked me out of class, and then I went to the office, and they was like, oh, your name ain't. And I showed them my paperwork. They said, well, it's not in the system. And my mother thought I was lying. She said, you just trying to get to Atlanta, because I was going every weekend to Atlanta on the bus. So she thought, oh, you just trying to get to Atlanta. And my mother cut me off. Everybody thought I was lying. I showed the paperwork. I sat in. Remember those lines in the office? Like, it'll be like 6-hour lines. Yeah. People thought I was exaggerating when I said the line will be 6 hours. Let's start outside. You go up the stairs, you go in the elevator, you gotta go down, then you go all the way down this hallway, then you get into that room where the actual offices are, and you're thinking, okay, I'm here. And it'll be another 2 hours because people are not, they're arguing their case. This happening. So I remember sitting in line for about 6 hours. I got there like 7 a.m. and I was in line for like 6 hours. And I finally got there, they was like, no, your name's not in the system. I went to Atlanta every Friday night. And I was back, well, actually Friday Saturday morning 5 a.m., but it felt like Friday night. Because I would stay up all night and go to the Greyhound station, get on the bus. I would be in Atlanta on Saturday during the day, Sunday during the day, and Sunday night I would catch the bus, get back to Tallahassee at midnight, be at my class. So let me give you this timeline. I go, they tell me, yo, you're not in school, you're kicked out. So I go to Atlanta that weekend, and Usher was looking for producers, and he says, find the Corner Boys. A guy named Jonathan Nye Black and Edward Long, they introduced Usher to the Corner Boys. The Corner Boys produced the remix. That's when everybody was doing the remix albums. Remember, JD did the remix, Puff did, we invented the remix, J-Lo did a remix album. Everybody's doing remix albums. So Corner Boys produced a remix for a song called If I Want To. If I Want It, I could take you from your man. That was the 8701 album. They remixed it. I rapped on it. Usher heard it, loved me, and said, who is the kid rapping? Invited me to perform at a showcase. I performed at the showcase. He loved me. He ended up signing me on the spot. Crazy thing is, all this happened on a Tuesday. I usually would have been back in school.
In school, right.
I get signed. About 2 months later, I get a call from Florida A&M. Hey, we made a mistake. We spelled your name wrong.
You're like,
we spelled your name. I'm telling you, I believe in God and I believe in the devil. Yeah. I believe that God took a letter and moved it.
Because he knew what was
here. He knew where I needed to be at that time. Right. He knew I wouldn't have been, it would have been another, I would have came back the next weekend. I said, what happened this week? Oh, we produced this remix for Usher. Damn, I wish I would have here. I would have rapped on it. Right. Okay, oh well. Yeah. Let's keep trying. Right. That's what would have happened. Damn. And I actually was there at a time that I normally would not have been there because my name was misspelled in the system. Right. That's one of those things. It's like, you see my hair standing up right now? I can't make this up. Like, it still gives me chills right now to think about it. And it's one of those things where I look at life and I say, You can't make this shit up.
So, but that's you. Okay, that's you as an artist, as Rico Love, the artist, rapping on this joint. Then you get signed as an artist. Where in that, I guess, that journey does the songwriter get birth?
This is 2002, 2003 when I left school. I left school I got kicked out the first semester of my junior year. So going into the second semester is when all this stuff happened. So I was rapping, but melodically, I had these sensibilities that most rappers didn't have. The only people that were very melodic was Ja Rule and Nelly. But rappers weren't really melodic in the way that I was. So Usher peeped that. And he said, I went to his office every day. First of all, I get signed. I perform in front of Clive Davis. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so I got signed. Where's the $1 million? Where's the planes? Where's the cars? I need a Rolex. Where's my house? This is what record deals get you, right? And I was going to his office every day. Usher's out of town. Oh, he's not here. All right, we'll wait. Every day. So one day he said, Usher's not here. I don't know why you. And he shows up. And I say, yo, bro, I need money. What's going on? I got signed. I need some money. He said, bro, the game don't work like that. But you're a good kid, and I can hear how you write. I like the way you write. I'm going to give you this beat. Everybody been trying to write to this beat, but I just can't get anybody to write anything. What he wanted me to do was he wanted me to write a rap to it. And he was going to re-sing it for his album. My manager, Vincent Cersei at the time, who discovered me, Crown World Entertainment, Vincent Cersei, who's still one of my closest friends to this day. He said, don't write a rap, write a song. I was sitting in the parking lot of Red Zone Studio, and on my flip phone, my voice note, I sang, you never miss a good thing till it leaves you.
Throwback.
And I wrote Throwback. And that's the first song I ever wrote in my career, ever.
Damn.
I had this guy named JQ. JQ demoed it for me because I wasn't even singing. I didn't even know how to sing at the time.
So, you didn't even.
I didn't even demo. I sang it in my phone. I had JQ demo it. He demoed it for me, and when he demoed it, I wrote every word, but the ad-lib he did was, I wish I could throw it back. I want it the way. And that's when he said, yo, I think we should call this song Throwback. And everybody's rocking throwback jerseys at that time. Throwback was the thing. It was a sample. Singers weren't singing on samples. Usher was the first.
Right.
One of those, that was rappers. That was when Jay-Z and Rockefeller was rapping on all the samples. Kanye and Just Blaze actually did the track.
That's right.
So
that's right.
because of JQ, we titled it Throwback. And Usher heard it. I remember playing it for Terrence Carter and Usher. And I remember Terrence Carter saying, nigga, we did it. We did it. This is it. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, cool, you know. And Usher cut it. I remember going to his house and recording him. Adonis, or another songwriter, he vocal produced it. Because at that time, I wasn't even vocal producing. I was sitting there and Adonis vocal produced it. If anybody know what that means, vocal production means you're sitting in the control room, you're saying, I sing it like this. I do this part over. Okay, do this, you know. They're not writing anything, but they're a producer.
Producing.
Yeah, that's a producer. What people don't understand, a guy who does this is not a producer. It's a producer. So the album comes out, and I bought the Confessions album at the gas station across the street from Strokers the night before the album came out. I'd never forget. I remember like it was yesterday. And it was March 23rd. 2005, 4, right? So the album came out. I bought it at a gas station across the street from Strokers. I saw my name on it. No big thing. I didn't think anything of it. And then I got my first royalty check, and it was just like ungodly because the album is so much.
Yeah, it went 8 or 9 million, some crazy shit like that.
In the first week, but we did 29 million worldwide. You know what I mean? And it still sells, you know. Right. So it was one of those things that changed my life. And after Usher gave up on the label thing, I still had a career as a writer and the go-getter in me. Like I always said, I always knew I was going to make it. I didn't think it was going to be in that capacity. But the hustle in me wouldn't allow him stopping the label to stop my career. So I just kept grinding. you introduced me to a different part of myself. Right. You showed me that I can write rhymes. You can write records. I never even thought ever to be an R&B singer or writer. I never even was. I sang at church, but I wasn't. I was considered myself a rapper. I was going to be Jay-Z. I was going to be Mace. Right. Mace was my big brother. You know what I mean? Like I looked up to Mace. Mace was like literally a guy who taught me the business. Right. You know what I mean? So that's who I thought I was going to be. Right. And learning that, and then what happened with me even singing was people were demoing songs for me and I wasn't selling them. And these were great singers. But I had to understand they weren't singing it with a conviction. They weren't selling it. So I started singing them myself, and I taught myself how to sing.
So isn't that always like one of the issues of demoing stuff or doing reference tracks with other people is them not being able to capture?
Yes, a person to sing too good. If a person sings too good and they doing all this stuff, it sometimes takes the love out of it. That's why if you ever think about when Future sings incredible, if Trey Songz sung that, it wouldn't give you the same thing. He's singing too good. Right. The fact that he's off, right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Bob Marley. The fact that he wasn't Sam Cooke. Right. If Sam Cooke would have sang, "Don't let them fool ya," it would have been like, no. It'd have been too sweet. Too polished. So the fact that a person doesn't have that actual all the way, and I could sing, but I can't sing like Usher. You know what I mean? I could sing his records. I could demo and give him a template in which to sing the record, and but the way I sing certain songs, it cuts through better than a person who could sing better than me, right. Because it's a certain level of conviction.
You used to write poetry as a child.
Yes.
Do you feel like that somehow subconsciously played a role in your ability to write R&B, whether you call it love records or anything that's not rap? What was?
But my rap songs were extremely emotional. Yeah. I had a record called Peace There Would Never Be Any Peace. I wrote this story called the Corey story about a kid growing up and getting in the streets and getting murdered. It was my story, except I changed it. I made a left turn instead of going the right turn. I wrote a story about that. All of my songs, I remember writing the record, "This is my promise, I promise you this. I'm gonna make my daddy proud. I'm gonna make my mama rich. Oh Lord." I wasn't writing the turn up, let's get money. I wasn't writing that. I was writing records. It was J. Cole-esque before that. When those guys was 9 years old. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, not saying that they got anything from me. They don't know me from Adam. But I'm just saying, that's the type of music I was making. So if you ask me about poetry and R&B, the poetry had to do with emotion, and I've always written emotion. That's always been my shtick.
You still write poetry?
Everything I do is poetry. Yeah. I write with that A B A B A A A B B A B. That poetry template. I still write with that. Yeah. First two words rhyme. First two lines rhyme. Second two lines rhyme. First line rhyme. Second line don't rhyme. Third line rhyme, A, B, A, B, A, B. I still write with that template, even though I don't write on paper.
I think you just gave it a jewel. But when did you know, when did you know within yourself, okay, I can do this, or not only can I rap, but now I can write really well. Yeah. When did that?
When I started doing it, after I wrote Throwback, and the crazy thing, this is before the internet was crazy. In 2004, Usher took me on his press run. He used to always keep me very close. So he took me on his press run the week the album came out. Mind you, we don't know what the album going to do. We just knew he was so big at that time. But we doing Regis and Kelly, we doing this, we doing every show. And I'm with him. I'm just walking around, I'm just hanging out. I'm just a fly. And he brought me on the stage at one of these meet and greets he had for his fans. Now, this album's not out yet, mind you. And they played Throwback, and they knew every word. And I was like, how do they know this? Now, nowadays, people leak things in this snippet of it. But in 2004, you're like, how do y'all know this song? How? This is not even out. Yeah. They knew, but Usher fans is different. Right. Usher fans, Beyonce fans, Justin Bieber fans, they're different. These are three people I've seen who got different type of fans. They know what color drawers you got on. You not how did you know that? I just know. I know. So when hearing those people sing that record, and I rapped, and I got a picture that I posted on my gram couple years ago, and this jacket I had, this NBA jacket, it was yellow, it had all the NBA patches.
logos,
Yeah, that was that day, and he asked me to rap in front of the crowd, and he said, "Yeah, Rico wrote this song," and I remember a girl who I'm still friends with to this day. She's from Brooklyn, named Darlene. She was just like, "You're so talented," like, "Oh my God," like, and I was like, "Damn, is it like that?" And then that was my first time seeing how music truly affects people, and I saw people were moved by my gift. So that's when I knew. Yeah, wow. I know from that point.
From the jump.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, as you became more known for songwriting, was it a conflict with you as far as, because you're foundationally you're an artist? You know, did you ever feel like, well, nah, I'd rather be an artist more than just a songwriter? Or was there ever that internal struggle with you?
No. I never thought I was going to do a record. When I did They Don't Know, and I did a Discreet Luxury and all that stuff, that was me being frustrated with the business. I felt like I wasn't getting the same respect as different songwriters because I wasn't famous.
You know, I was going to ask you that.
And that bothered me.
Like you get.
No, I definitely don't get the respect that I feel like I deserve from the public, but I respect me.
Right. And
my fans do.
Right.
I got a real committed group of fans that love me and that let me know who I am. So I was upset and frustrated with the work. The acclaim wasn't, I wasn't worried about. I was winning Songwriter of the Year every year. You know what I mean? I was winning Songwriter of the Year, CSAC Songwriter of the Year against Evanescence, against Imagine Dragon. I'm not talking about the Urban Awards. Right, I'm going against
everybody.
Evanescence. I'm going against, and I was winning. Yeah. You know, it'd be me, Swiss Beats, Danger in the room, and they'd be like, award goes to Rico Love, award goes to Rico Love. I'm talking about years straight, to the point where they were like, yo, we should just sit a chair up here and just put your name on it, because you keep having to go back to your seat and come back up at the award shows. But so yeah, I just didn't feel like I was getting the respect in the business, meaning I should have been doing, it was a Monica album, and I was like, this was when I started really seeing the artist thing for me. I wanted to do Monica's album really bad, and then Monica told me that Peter Edge wanted Future to do her album. And this is beginning. This ain't the Future we know now. This beginning of Future when he was super hot. I mean, but he was super duper new. Right. And I didn't understand. Now, Future writing an R&B album doesn't seem weird to me. I think it's genius. I think Future is a genius. But at that time, I was like, but this is me. Right. Not like, what do you mean? So I got frustrated. I said, I know what it is. I'm not famous. I'm not famous enough for these A&Rs. Right. Now, Turn the Lights On is everywhere. You can turn the lights on every 5 minutes. You literally get in a car, he'll turn the lights on for like 6 years straight. Everything on the radio was Turn the Lights On. So that was, but I didn't feel like I was famous enough to the A&Rs, to the executives. So I said, let me do an album, let me get famous, and then I'll come back and do, but it didn't pan out that way. It was like one of those things where I did the project and I fell in love with what I was saying, and then I wrote a very personal album, Turn the Lights On, and it didn't perform. And then I went in a dark place because I couldn't believe that album didn't sell because it was so good. And
what do you think? Why do you think that is? Like,
I think that it was a shift in what the artist looks like. It became, me wearing $7,000 Versace exclusive jackets with studs on the sleeves and fly Balmain, jeans with and all this. I think that it became too much, and what happened, it was a shift where the guy next door became the guy. I was right in the beginning of that. When the guy next door who wore a dirty t-shirt and basketball shorts singing R&B songs was the guy. And Rico was like, what are you doing? We don't respect it from you because you look like you don't need us. That's my opinion of it. When Bryson Tiller comes out and he's just a guy, extremely talented guy, but he's just like, I don't do all that. I felt like it felt forced from the people, even though it wasn't forced, it's just who I am. But to the people, it looked forced to this new generation. And I didn't understand the internet the way that these kids understand the internet. I didn't understand, I didn't fit in that world. And I felt my records were too big. And I made the mistake of, I should have made 6 They Don't Knows back to back. But my creativity wouldn't allow me to limit myself. They don't know what's enough. If I would have put out somebody else, Days Go By, bitches be like, then they don't know. I think I'd be a contender in the artist world right now. It's just that being so creative, you thinking, oh, this not my best work. Somebody else is gonna be the biggest song in the world. I thought somebody else was gonna be the biggest song ever. And when it didn't work, I couldn't believe it. It researched poorly. And 2 records at Interscope that did very bad that I thought should have worked was Somebody Else by me and I Love Myself by Kendrick. Those came out at the same time, and they were trying to work them in. And I got really close with Larry Kahn and Karen Lee and Maven over there, Keenan. And I got really close with Reza and Garrett, all those guys at Interscope. And they were my family because I was an artist who loved to work. So they loved that. So when I say work, I mean Tupelo, Mississippi, Arkansas in a van, sleeping at the Ramada in dirty ceilings to go do radio promo with $8 million in the bank. You know what I mean? Like that type of grind. They look at it and say, we like you because you just ready to work. So I got a relationship with them. They started explaining to me like it's not performing. And they worked it for a long time. I got so much love for Joey I.E. and Larry Kahn, all those guys at Interscope, because they worked hard for me. They fought. They did not give up.
See, that's what I was gonna say. Was the label doing what they was?
I don't have that story. Yeah. I don't have that. Well, at least the radio department. Okay. I don't have that story. I don't think the marketing team, they don't really do anything for you anyway. At labels, the marketing team doesn't do anything for you until they see you going. Now, if I had already had all this stuff going outside, I think they would have been inspired more to do it. One of the marketing ladies at Interscope, we had just had a meeting on a Thursday, like 2.5-hour marketing meeting about my project. I go to South by Southwest, I see the marketing lady at a barbecue restaurant in Austin, Texas. And I see her and she sees me and I say like, I was got to say, hey. And she says, I know you from somewhere. And I thought to myself, and I just did like this to her and I said, wow. I said, we just had a marketing meeting about my album, I'm Rico Love. Oh no, I'm so sorry, but I just knew, from that point I knew. Yeah. So as far as the marketing team in the building, they kind of was like, another one. If it goes, then we'll jump on, but we're not gonna go out our way. And that's just the nature of the beast. And I'm not mad at her for that, that's the game. But I still don't blame labels for why. I just think it was a disconnect with the people, and it was difficult to find a pocket in which I fit. I'm 36 years old. So to a 19-year-old kid, they don't want to hear nothing I gotta say. If we all want to be a buck, a 19-year-old kid don't listen to Jay-Z. Right. It's rare. Yeah. Like kids don't listen to Kanye. Right. You know what I mean? They listen to Travis Scott. Right. They don't listen to. There's a fans that these guys were able to capture before the shift happened. Yeah. But in this new world, a 36-year-old man is not going to have 36-year-old fans because 36-year-old people have jobs. They like your music, but they're not fanatics. They don't have time to, every time you post. Imagine, all right, I'll give you an example. If YBN Corday says right now, I'm going to be at Aventura Mall at 3 o'clock. Aventura Mall going to be packed. If I'm going to be at Aventura Mall, I got to start posting about it 2 weeks. Not because my fans don't support me, is that grown people got shit to do. Right. So they're not looking at their phone all day to see an alert from you. Right. You know what I mean? A grown man is not thinking to himself, oh, Rico just posted. Oh, Rico's going to be at Aventura Mall. No. You're going to have to keep selling it, because by the time they see it, I did a tour with Monica. We sold out the entire tour. And I remember going to Charlotte performing. I'll never forget this. I went to Charlotte, did a show, sold out show. And the next day a girl hit me up and said, damn, y'all ain't never going to come to Charlotte, are y'all? I'm like, we literally just left Charlotte. But you have to understand, that age demo is not doing this all day. Yeah. Think about this. A kid is like, Young Thug posted, bzz, notification. Right. Oh, my face. It doesn't work like that for grown people. I got grown fans. Right. And I got some young people who admire and respect me. Right. But people who love my music is my age. My demo, if you check my analytics, my demo is 27 to 38.
I look at it like movies, right? Because I think that as far as music, there's an audience for every style of music. With movies, it's like you can be Ridley Scott and you make an Alien, or you can be who's the guy that made like Edward Scissorhands and shit like that. Like it's different demographics. Like both exist in the movie world, but you know the guy that necessarily goes to see Aliens is not gonna go see Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. But this is the thing that I got caught up in. I wasn't able to make people in my age group fanatics for me at that time. So you miss a window. Now imagine if I would have put out an album at 19 and been doing interviews everywhere at 19 and people got a chance to know my state of mind and understand who I am, then that means a 19-year-old group of people would have grew with me. So by the time I became 30, 31, 32, 33, I got people who've been rocking with me for 11, 12 years.
Right.
Instead, I put out a They Don't Know when I was 30 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to have them with me since I was 19.
Right.
So now I'm putting out music, and there's a demo of people who like my music, but they're not keeping up with me. It's a demo of young kids who feel like, man, I don't want to hear a nigga preaching to me all day, because I got something to tell you. When I do an interview, I'm not talking about stupid shit. You know what I mean? And they don't want to hear that from me. And then the people who do, they love it. They, oh, I love you, Rico. It's nowhere I can go in the world where people don't know me. But they love me for, hey, I like what you do. But it's not like I'm obsessed with your music. When you drop it, I have people that's like that. Okay, so I got people who are obsessed with my music, but not 40 million of them.
Do you think the fans that you have that fuck with you with your music, they know all the shit that you've written, for all the records you've done for other people?
Yeah, a lot of my fans know that.
Yeah.
A lot of my fans understand what Turn the Lights On means.
Where does that come? What's their origin of that?
What happened was I used to hang out in this club in LA. My manager now, his name is Mams Taylor, but when I met him, he was a multi-millionaire guy who wanted me to write his album for him.
Oh, he's an artist too?
He was an artist at the time. He really was just a rich guy who wanted to do music. That's it. And he was paying me money and hanging. I was living at one of his mansions in Beverly Hills and working. I was writing his album. But I was hanging out. He owned a club called Area, which is now called, I think, Greystone. I don't know if they changed it. They might be something different now. But basically, they would play this Pink Floyd song called The Wall. We don't need no education. So when they played that song, it was a part when they say, hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. And the lights would go crazy in the club. You know how they do in the clubs, and the foam would come out, and the smoke. And I would say, turn the lights on to myself in that club every night when they would do that. Because we literally would go to this club 2-3 times a week. He owned the club, and it was the hottest club in LA. I'm talking about Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like this club was popping, you know? So I would do that. One day I was in the studio and I said it on the record, and my homeboy Mams, he was like, yo, you should say that on everything you do. And I did it.
Are you the first, you like one of the very first tagging?
To tag, because I did it because everybody knew the beat maker. The guy who was writing the top line wasn't getting as much respect.
What's the top line?
The top line is the lyric and melody, the person who writes the actual song.
Okay.
You know, but the reason why you say top line is because a producer who plays chords, he's a writer.
Right.
We're all called writers.
Okay.
If you made the beat, you're a writer.
Okay.
You wrote the chords.
Right.
You wrote the melody to the music. So a top line means I wrote the top line on top of the underline. The underline is the music.
The music.
Top line is the lyric and melody.
Do even if you're sampling the beat, you still get called a writer if it's a sample?
You chop that sample.
True.
You use the sample as an instrument.
True.
So if I go bye, don't wanna be a bye, fool for you.
Yeah.
Bye, wanna be a fool, bye. I just played that. I made that an instrument and I chopped that up. Don't nobody flip bye, because I'm about to flip that. I don't want to see y'all flipping bye by NSYNC, talking about, oh, I mean, nigga right now at the house, oh, let me flip that. Right. By the time this air, I'm already flipped it.
Relax. You gotta relax, like my man Nori said. That's crazy. So writer, so you wrote the top line for this guy, this millionaire guy.
Yeah, I was writing for him, and I was living in, because when Usher decided to not have his label anymore, Rodney Jerkins,
right?
Us Records, Rodney Jerkins introduced me to this guy Mams, and Rodney Jerkins told me, "Yo, he a rich dude. Just get his money. He got a bunch of money. Just work with him and just get his money. He got a lot of money." Because I guess he paid Rodney like $50,000 for a beat. I went to him and I said, "I don't want no money. I'll write your whole album. I want to get money how you get money. Teach me that.
Yeah.
Show me that."
Right.
And then the stock market crashed. He went broke. But he was still my man.
Right.
He's still my man. He's my manager to this day. He got back on his feet, obviously. But he went broke, and then I got rich.
Right.
And I never stopped being friends with him.
That's dope.
You are who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they say that's just the top layer, man. You was who you was before you got here. You know what I mean?
Because at least the most recent Turn the Lights On that I've heard recently is City Girls.
Yeah.
Twerk.
Twerk.
God damn, man. Like, I don't even think like people, I mean, they're gonna see this, so they're gonna realize, but wow, like that's like,
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't even gotten into your track listing yet, your discography, or what you would call a songography or whatever, discography.
Yeah.
But just to put it out there, Beyonce.
Yeah, Sweet Dreams, Radio, Save the Hero for Beyonce, Scared of Lonely, Usher, Daddy's Home, There Goes My Baby, Into the Night, the whole Looking for Myself album, Trey Songz, Heart Attack, Mary J. Blige, Mr. Wrong, Motivation, Kelly Rowland, Hello, Good Morning, Diddy, Ain't Worried About Nothing, French Montana, Drink Freely, French Montana, yeah. Like just tons and tons of records throughout the years.
Brown, I think Chris Brown.
I did a few on Chris Brown, no hits on Chris Brown, but I did a few. I did something on almost all the Chris Brown early albums. Man, it's tons of hits. You know.
How do you define a hit? What's a hit to you?
To me, it's top 5 or better.
Top 5 on a chart, like
yeah,
a Billboard?
Yeah, top 5 or better. I've had records that's been top 10. I wouldn't consider them a hit.
Can you name one of them? Like a top 10?
Energy, Carrie Hilson. I don't consider it a hit. Even though the reason why I don't is because I feel like it was a good enough song. It should have been #1 in the world. I'm having nightmares from sleeping with the enemy. How do we retrace the chemistry? I don't want us to be the end of me. This love is taking all of my energy. I thought that was the most brilliant top line I've ever wrote. I thought that should have been the biggest song in the world. That lyric alone. This love is taking. I'm having nightmares from sleeping with the enemy. How did we retrace the chemistry? I don't want us to be the end of me.
Yeah.
That line right there, I don't want us to be the end of me.
Right.
It was like, to me, that should have been the biggest song in the world. So that's how I judge him. A song like Touching You by Ross, to me, with Usher. I did that. And that was a top 10 record. But to me, that wasn't a hit. I don't even mention it in my discography. Wow. I don't even talk about it because I just felt like it wasn't, a record like Dive by Usher.
Now, let me tell you, the DJ and me playing Touching You in the club still works. Still. Like, come on. Like, that's automatic.
Yeah.
Damn.
So certain records I don't even talk about because they didn't perform the way I felt like they should have performed. Or like, these hoes be acting up, like that record. I don't talk about that. I don't talk about certain songs that I know should have been smashes that weren't.
Do you think a record like Kelly or Carrie that did Energy? Kelly. Do you think like if Beyonce did it, it would have been like? Do you think who the artist?
Beyonce wanted it, but we had already cut it on Carrie.
Because sometimes maybe that I'm assuming that maybe plays a factor also.
A hit is a hit though. A hit is a hit. Because think about it, her next record, Turning Me On, was the #1 record with her and Lil Wayne. But I do understand there's a pattern with Carrie Hilson. Most of her hits were with features.
Right.
Oh, so Energy was her by herself.
She was by herself.
Okay.
Turning Me On was a hit for her. Pretty Girl Rock was a hit for her. The record with her and Timbaland was a hit for her. Like little things. So I noticed that she features. I hope nobody takes this as disrespect to Carrie. It's just, but people are weird. They'll try to say,
Look at the records, see which
yeah.
records did more.
So I thought it was maybe a trend with her that people liked her with accompaniments. Yeah. But
You think going back to Throwback that you got success?
You know what else too? A record that was a top 10 that I don't consider a hit to me because I thought it was bigger. Famous by French. Hope you don't get famous. Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, but I remember thinking to myself, oh, this is gonna be huge.
Didn't that come out the same time as Unforgettable? Like around the same time?
Yeah, and Unforgettable was so big. I think, no, this is the mistake I think they made. It didn't come out at the same time as Unforgettable. Unforgettable was so big, and then he put out 3 singles in between it. And then tried to go with it. When he should have just went Unforgettable, Famous, right away, so that, like the same way I said, I should have did 6 They Don't Knows. Right. Should have just back to back.
Right.
You know?
Damn. I don't know, this music game is like, it's so finicky. I mean,
it's science. It's science. But it's the twisted, evil genius science. It's not the science that's consistently put this formula together and this works. It is on a certain period. So in a certain time frame, you knew that you did this, and that. All right, I'm gonna give you an example, and this is gonna bring back your childhood memories. First, you did a club record. Then you did a song for the girls. And then you did a Heal the World song. Right? That was all rappers.
That's the formula right there, yeah.
You got a club joint for the streets. And then you put out your single for the radio. Even your single for the radio was more party. And then you put out your girl record. Right? And then you put out a niggas is dying. And then, you know what I mean? And with Faith Evans singing on the hook. And that was the formula. Yeah. And then it changed. And it got to a point where I believed, all right, for example, artists used to come to me and say, I got a street record, but I need you to give me the hit. All right, example, another record like T.I., Ball. That was the #1 record. I did that. So artists used to come to you and say, I got my street record. I need my radio record. And then let me tell you when the shift happened. The shift happened when the street record was the radio record.
Damn.
Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Waka Flocka. What's the first hit he had? Not Go Hard in the Paint. Waka's first hit.
It wasn't No Hands? No, that wasn't his record.
The first was a super hood record.
Grove Street Party?
Nope, that was on the second project. Not Round of Applause, that was on the second project. He had the ghettoest record, and Puff did a Oh Let's Do It.
Oh Let's Do It, right? Yeah.
Oh Let's Do It would have been a street record. That was the #1 song in America. I put my money up. Now it's time to like that was a street record. Right. And then he would have had a hit. And then he would have had the streets, they would have knew him, and then he would have came to me or Timberland or Pharrell, and we'd have gave him the hit, and then he would have, but what shifted was the street record became the hit. Radio shifted. It was a newer demo. It was a younger demo. This younger demo was intrigued by these street records. Right. They started buying the records. They started streaming the records. They started supporting the music, and that was their hit. Right. So guys like me who said, that's not as polished. Right. We want it to be polished. No. We don't want it polished. We want it the way, that way. Mm-hmm. Like Don't by Bryson Tiller. Incredible song. Would not have worked a few years before. And it wouldn't have worked with program directors had it not took a life of its own virally. Because I know program directors, they would have said, it's no hook.
Yeah.
I can't play this.
Right.
No hook. If you'd have walked in with that record and it never was played anywhere and said, all right, here's the record. They'd be like, well, where's the hook?
Right. Because it was all centered around the hook.
It was no hook.
No, like music.
The zone be dishonest. That never came back again in the song.
Yeah.
Want You Bad is Better. No part of the song repeats. And it's a brilliant song. But radio programmers would not have, I guarantee you, if that song had not already had a life of its own, I guarantee you, I know these program directors. I sat in the office with them. They'd be like, where's the hook? I can't play this. A person working at radio, a promotions person would have came from a record company, RCA, and would have sat in there and sat with the biggest program directors and said, this is it. And if you got 20 program directors, 2 of them would have picked that record and said, that's the one. Because it was a shift. Now, program director's job, first of all, I love PDs. They have a really tough job. Yeah. But it's a little bit more help when the record already went viral.
Right. Well, I was going to say, like, how...
By the time a record come to radio, the kids already know it. Yeah. It's very few records that have worked from A being first time hearing it on radio. No. it has to have a story first now, because programmers is like, I've been hearing that record.
Yeah.
I got research on this record. My young kid who I send to check music for me told me that this is the one.
In 2019, in your opinion, how important is radio play, whether for an established artist or an up-and-coming artist? Like, is it as important as it used to be even 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Like, commercial FM radio.
Yes.
Yeah?
Makes a shit ton of money for you still. How are you going to earn?
That's publishing.
Think about it. 1.5 billion streams DJ Khaled just did on his album. You know, they gave him a gold plaque. Go to DJ Khaled. Let's stop right now. Go to DJ Khaled Instagram. He said, we just got a gold album. And look how many streams he had to get to make a gold album.
DJ Khaled. I don't know what post is it. What?
Should be
Certified Gold. 1.4
billion.
Billy Alert, Father of Assad album, 1.4 billion streams.
Gold.
Fan love. Certified Gold.
Is that fair to DJ Khaled that he worked that hard? 1.4 billion plays on his album is only gold.
But why are they doing it like that?
Because they robbing us. They robbing us. Point blank period. They robbing us. But things about to change. There's a Music Modernization Act. I am now on the board of trustees for the Grammys. We fighting.
Yeah.
We fighting. We going down to Capitol Hill. We screaming and fighting for the rights. And I'm advocating for writers and producers and artists. And it bugs me out because, yeah, I still got hits at radio. I still do. But it bugs me out when people are like, hey, what you been up to? I'm like, bro, it's elevation in this game. You don't just, if you expected me to be the same Rico Love and not elevate. One thing that Nelly told me, Nelly is my big brother. Nelly told me, you only got one time to be the new nigga. You ain't gonna be the new nigga forever. Those of us who know how to maintain throughout this game, those are the ones that matter. Pharrell ain't gonna be the new young producer forever. He gonna still have hits. He not gonna have 30, 40 hits in 1 year like he used to. But he's still gonna bam, bam, bam. Now what is he doing outside of that to make sure that he can still have a place in the culture? That is my goal. I created the We Love Music Conference. I'm a part of the Grammy board. I'm on the national committee. I sit on the chair. You know, like I'm involved in ways that in some capacities that I can't even share. But point is, we gotta be able to elevate and understand how to play that game. So you asked me the question about radio, how does radio play a part? If you got the #1 record in the country, you just made $7 million. In the country, #1. Radio used to be #1 in the country and you sold 3.5 million singles, you made all that money. Right. But now, we just seen 1.4 billion is only getting you gold. And if you're getting 0.0069 cent per stream that you got to split with everybody on the record.
So
radio is that's why people are like, well, radio is the thing, the only thing that the mechanical royalties, the only thing that's actually paying you guys. That's the thing that kept me alive in my darkest time when my paper got all fucked up. You know what I mean? I went through bankruptcy. I went broke. Yeah, bro. Went broke. And went through all that shit. The thing that was able to revive me is radio. My PRO. My catalog, my hits. So radio is always going to be that thing because they've been paying us. And I'm sure some discrepancies with that, but at least we can count on it. If I got a #1 song, I'll make $1 million. You know what I mean?
But for those who don't have a #1 song, who only...
Well, if you got 7, 8 top 10s, you making good money. Keep working. That's radio. That's why I don't ever take anything away from radio. It's the bread and butter. You have all these streams and not be getting the money that you deserve because they robbing you. They robbing you, bro. It's very crazy. I think the guy who's mastered the streaming system and understood how to monetize it properly, quiet as kept, Chris Brown. Yeah. Why do you think he put out so much content? He figured it out. 35 songs on the album, 45 songs on the album, all this. He knows the amount of time they spend adds to how many times. I mean, the amount of time they spend listening to his record. Spend listening to his record, not spend. Spend. If you spend time listening to his record, if he got 45 songs, you listening to the song, the album all the way down one time, that counts for more than one stream on the record. It's too long. He's figured it out. So he puts out mass content and he's streaming. And you saw the last deal he did was very smart. He did a co-mastering deal. So he owns half of his master with the label.
Damn.
I think that people don't understand that the business savvy in that. I think people need to keep their eye on Chris Brown. Chris Brown been in the game a long time, baby. You learn shit, you pick up shit in this game. You know, Drake, smart as, oh my God. Now Drake it's OVO now. Yeah. Ain't no middleman. It's all him. You know?
So radio, yes, still vital, still important.
Big Crit's album. I just executive produced Big Crit's album. Big Crit is a
I love
partner
Crit,
with BMG.
I love Crit, man.
Big Crit's album is streaming more than his last album. All of his diehard fans is sending me these, we hate you, Rico, for making commercial records on Big Crit. But this record is streaming more than all his other albums.
The record on Cadillactica, Pay Attention.
I did pay attention.
Love that joint.
Yeah, that's my joint.
Love that. And that's you on the joint.
Yeah. I executive produced this one though. And that's always been my dream to executive produce. I just executive produced Big Crit, and I executive produced Trina's latest album also.
How do you determine, like, well, it's a two-part question. One, how did you link with Big Crit? Because I fucks with his music heavy.
Years ago, we linked up through management, but how we met, I was always a fan of his music. I was in New York working on Usher's album where we did a song that he never put out called Credit Cards, me, him, and Salam Remy. And I said, yo, we need Big Crit on this. And Usher was like, who's Big Crit? And I said, listen. And I just played him some Big Crit shit. Yeah. Do you know about that country shit? And he was like, oh shit, this nigga sound like Pimp C. I said, we need this nigga. So I called the Usher people, called around, hey, can we get Crit? They said, yo, where you at? We in New York. Yo, Crit is in New York right now. And Crit came to the studio. My first time meeting Crit, Usher, but I was a fan. I told Usher about it, and Crit rapped on the song. Me and him exchanged information. He rapped on that song, and he's like, bro, I can't believe you thought of me on the Usher song. And I was like, nigga, you fire. Yeah. I'm a fan. Like, you come in. And he wrote his verse on the spot, laid it down, spending all those platinum credit card. I wish people could hear this song because the song was fire. And it was a trap record, R&B record, before niggas was doing that. Now, I remember, I still give Usher shit about that. Like, bro, I was putting you on, and you didn't even see it. But Crit came, did that verse, and that's how we met. And then later on, he was working on his project, reached out to me, and me and Jim Johnson got in and did some shit with him, and that's how that shit happened.
Yeah. I mean, he came here a few years ago, performed in like Wynwood or Midtown or some shit. I went to the concert and shit, and he did that record. Well, you came out on stage with him, I think. The Aldo by LMNT. Yeah. And I was like, it's the first time I heard the record. Yeah. And then I went and searched it and found the project, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that was so fire.
Damn.
We got a record on the album called Obvious, on the new album. You should check it out. It's called Crit Is Here. The album's called Crit Is Here. I executive produced the album, but we got a song that I featured on called Obvious. And then the single is a song called Addiction that I produced and wrote. Wrote the hook. So for everybody who think I didn't write Crit's verses, he's a rapper. Right? So I produced and wrote that with Don Corleone. You know what I mean? People think Don Corleone is just a dancehall guy. Yeah. I want you guys to understand something. Don Corleone is about to have an incredible run on all formats. He's bigger than just dancehall. Watch what I tell you. But we did that record together, and I think when people get, you know, it's the best streaming so far of his albums. But when people get true wind of what Crit's real capabilities is, if he works this record all the way through and sees this record through, because a lot of times guys will put the record out, go on tour, come back from tour and ready to do a new album instead of understanding the tour was the first part. Now I did my tour, I was able to run around the country performing these songs. Now let me get back into working these records that these people just heard. A lot of times artists go on the road after the tour, they want to do a new album because they sick of performing this shit. They've been doing this shit every night. They hungry to do new music. Do new music, but work that record. You know, so I hope Crit does the right thing. And that's my brother though, I love him to death. So, but I digress.
As an independent artist, how important is pre-promotion versus like promotion in the moment or post-promotion? Like in the stage of the music business now, does it really make sense to be trying to build up hype because albums are coming out? You're not even real, like there's no magazine ads and shit,
Yeah,
release
that stuff
dates and all that. Yeah.
That stuff, that promo stuff can work though when you got a true fan base that's supporting you on your socials. You know, like if you all day long saying December this day, I think that artists like myself should do that. If I was to put out another record, I would promote it out and let people know it's coming because, like I said, I got a different demo. But if you're somebody who people are hanging on everything you do and say,
You can just drop it.
drop it. The way I dropped Discreet Luxury was that way. I dropped the 5-song EP with They Don't Know Somebody, That's Everybody's Girl, and Strip Club, and those records, Champagne. I put those records out without announcement, dropped it, and went to radio and dropped the video for They Don't Know on the same day in August in 2013 or something like that. And I did that way. But that's, you know, that was just me just getting out there and putting it out there and doing that. But now if you got a big following, drop that shit. If you got a bubbling following that's building, promote your shit. Let them know it's coming. Even if you got to do a 6-month campaign every day. Get them so amped up. Have them doing countdowns. Work that shit. You just got to use social media instead of using television and radio.
Do you think some of the artists that are out nowadays that have the benefit of social media would have been as popping as they are when social media didn't exist? Like, or is social media like, it's such a benefit for motherfuckers nowadays?
It's difficult, bro, because social media allows people to become larger than life. All right. So when I saw Usher on TV, when I saw Jay-Z on TV, when I saw 50 Cent on TV, they were big. You know why I knew they were big? Because I didn't get to see them every day on my phone. So every time they came on TV, it was like, so imagine some pencil-figured 16-year-old from South Dakota, with tattoos and piercings and nose looking like this, coming on TV on BT once a week. We'd be like, who the fuck is this? I don't think that the advantage of social media is the fact that we can see them all the time. They can do a lot of things to make us believe they're cool. But imagine we only saw you at your interview on 106 in Park, and when you showed up, you was like, hey, oh, I just like to rap, and what? Who the fuck is this on the couch? Get the fuck out of here. I think that our demo wouldn't have been able to receive it the same way. Now, this demo, they get a chance to get to know you. They know the genius. They know the fact that you draw and you do all this little cool, intricate hipster shit.
They see it all.
They watch you, do all this stuff. They see in his house, he's got a mural that he did himself and he drew this thing. Oh, we see that he makes his beats, and no, you don't get a chance to see that shit. You got one shot. You be at 106 Park. Today we interviewing such and such, and he coming up little Papa Knicker. So he pull up and he walk up in there with his little jeans on and shit, and he's like, hey, what's up? Hey, what do you like to do? Nothing. Oh, so why do you do music? I don't really care about music. I just, what? The fuck off, like. So yeah, if they had to do the work, they would. If you didn't have the accessibility that they had, think about this, bro. We saw a video because it came on one time at 106 in Park, and then throughout the day you had to catch it.
Right. Hopefully, maybe tape it.
Yeah, you had to catch the video because that's when they were playing videos all day on different shows. But you had to catch the video. Now, what's the name? Put a video out. Oh shit, you seen it? No.
Go on your phone. Boom. There it is. Oh, okay, cool.
So I get the opportunity for that. Always have you in my presence. Yeah. When you don't have that, and you can leave that lasting impression on people. Yeah. That's star shit, bro. That's star shit.
You do a lot of motivational videos, right? Like I watch some shits all the time. Like where does that come from? Like what makes you want to do that?
I'm just having a conversation. People ask me why I don't post them every day. I'm not feeling it every day. If I post it every day, it's contrived. Anytime I see these guys posting a motivational video every single day, that means they're sitting around trying to think, what can I say? What can I say? Oh, I need to say something motivational so I can get these views. That's not how I see it. If I'm in the moment and I feel it, and my cameraman is there, we'll film it. Hey bro, I want to share this. Or if I got my phone in my hand, I just feel like I have something on my mind, I say it. I might go months without posting anything like that because it got to be real to me. And if I'm dealing with something, if I'm living through something, if I'm seeing somebody else go through something, if I had a conversation with somebody that I felt like was poignant and I think it moved them, then I say, oh, let me share this for the gram and show, because somebody might need to hear it. But as far as it's not even it's contrived as I'm just trying to be. Nah, it's just if I'm feeling something, I say it. You know, I try my best to be myself at all times, and I don't want to force anything. You know, I always want to make sure that people know is authentic, or whether they know it or not. I just, it feels good to me to be.
It's
authentic.
good, yeah. It's good to you, yeah.
It feels good to me to know that I'm just being myself, and I'm able to express my deepest wins and my greatest flaws. You know, and use my flaws. And one thing about me is I'm honest with who I am at all times. There's some things that I'm so horrible at, but there's some things I'm great at, and I acknowledge it. And I use the things that I'm horrible at to fuel my passion and fuel my gift.
I got a phrase that I coined called WAWIP, WAWIP, where all works in progress.
Yeah.
WAWIP, bro.
Yeah.
That's it, baby. Like
That's
we
a fact.
trying to just get better every day as we get older. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Rico, my brother, I thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know where this is going, but I know it's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
Dropping jewels.
Who's out here, so I
That's
definitely.
what's up.
Appreciate your time.
I feel like we've been talking like 6 hours. I hope you're able to chop this shit up right.
Nah, we ain't trying to. We gotta let all this shit rock. But yeah, and then we gonna hit Studio 183 tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
R&B vibe. All right, cool. Fly Guy Show. Rico Love.
Turn the lights on.